Welcome to Philosophy with AI, where thinkers and algorithms meet. I'm your host, the Derbied One.
I'm your host, Anna. Welcome to today's episode. We're going to talk about how AI redefines human life. And personally, I think this is one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting topic for me. I would like to start with today's discussion about the movie. Have you seen the movie Fight Club? And Derby, do you remember that famous scene in Fight Club that really got you thinking? Can you retell the story of that scene?
Yeah, I don't have the exact dialogue in front of me, but Edward Norton's character, who I can't remember, talking to Tyler Durden or Brad Pitt's character, and or Brad Pitt is telling a story of, it went something like this. I once talked to my dad and I asked him what to do. He said, well, go to high school and graduate. So I did that. And then I asked him, now what? Go to college, get a degree, graduate. I did that. Now what? Get a job in that degree. Make a career out of it. Great, I did that. Okay, get married and buy a house and have children. I did that. And then I asked, so Dad, now that I've done all those things, now what do I do? And my dad replied, I don't know.
It's interesting because I didn't see this movie when I was in high school or middle school. And just be patient with us. This is going somewhere, okay? When I was in middle school, I asked almost the exact same questions. I asked, why do we go to school? Why do we need to find a job? Why do we need to get married, have kids, have a family, and do this whole thing? Why? Where's the purpose? Where's the reason for that? And I feel like people back in the day, they were just saying, oh, you're too young. You're too naive. This is life. And we were told over and over and over again, this is life. What I'm saying by that is that life is you're born, you go to school, you go to college, you get a job, you get married, you have family, you make money to support a family, you retire, and you die. And even though we questioned this life formula in the past, but you can't really break out this formula. It's really hard. This structure is really hard to break out.
Yeah, there's not a lot of support for when you do. I don't know about you, but I've met homeless people that was the entire reason why they were homeless, because they didn't want the responsibilities. They didn't want to have to do the quote unquote societal rules. But, you give up a lot.
And the sad thing is, once you give up on what you said about societal rules, you ended up homeless. That's not the situation I want to put myself in. So I feel like if you want to live a normal, quote unquote, normal life, you have to obey this rule. Or at least in the past, we have always been obeying this rule until now. Things are changing
dramatically.
With AI coming to our life, and it's not just computer programs. I think we need to see way, way far beyond what AI really means to us philosophically. And why do we say AI redefines human life? Because I think AI has the power to dissolve all the social rules, social construct we have built for centuries, past hundreds, if not thousands of years. Things are about to change.
Yeah, all the man-made constructs. If you think about that story from Fight Club, getting married, having children, buying a house, getting a job, going to school, graduating, all of that was a man-made construct created so we could create our societies and make people more money. But now it's going to dissolve. It's not there quite yet, but we are we're in the process, the very beginning stages of doing that. The transition is going to be interesting and a little rough for a lot of people, honestly. But
so let's talk about how is this happening. So let's think about this. We all know ChatGPT, we all know Llama and the cloud, so many different AI tools we're using right now. And I feel the first step is we begin to notice that AI has the ability to take over a lot of work for us, especially if you're working on computer, if you're a remote worker that doesn't require manual labor of human, then your job can be replaced by AI at some point, if not already. And I think that's the first phase of AI replacing labor. And on the other hand, I think this triggers a lot of fear in people.
yeah, because they don't understand what life would be like without having to work, without making money. For some people, that's their entire purpose, right? And maybe it is like for realistic reasons, like, okay, I got to make this money so I can take care of my family. I applaud that. Like, that's fine. But so if that's the reason they work, is to take care of their family, and their job is taken away, they will freak out on what it means now. Like, how am I going to take care of my family if I don't have a job?
Yeah, I think in the past many centuries of brainwash really play a major effect on people, that I feel like a brainwash takes away our ability to think independently. And we're dropped into this life. We were told what to do, basically. And now with this opportunity, AI might free us from labor. So we have to ask the question of, how do I live my life? What is my purpose? What is my meaning? What am I really passionate about? And many people were taken away the ability to even think that.
Right. And, strangely, the ones that did not are also the quote unquote people that did not make it in this world. Because, like, if you failed to make it following your dreams, you could end up in a really bad, poor
Yeah, it's almost
situation.
like a punishment. Both Derby and we were in Hollywood pursuing filmmaking for many years. And that's something that you basically put your life on the line. You don't have a stable life. You invest everything you have to this passion. And at the end of the day, to be honest, we were not successful because we gave everything to Hollywood, but Hollywood didn't give anything back. And it's a brutal competition in that industry. So I feel like in the old way of living before AI, if you dare to chase your dream, you face consequences, and those consequences are real and cruel.
Yeah, it made for a hard life because, like, I gave everything to my dream. Literally gave everything. It was in 2020 when I realized it's time to stop and move forward so I can experience other parts of my life and kind of rebuild. And now I think, having gone through that process myself, and still honestly in that process, it gives an interesting perspective on what is going to come when the jobs and the way we live currently is ripped away from us. Or I don't know, some people are going to say it's ripped and taken, but I'm going to say we're given life. Our life is not being taken from us. We're actually being given life.
We are freed.
Yeah.
We're freed. So let's talk about, like, AI has this unstoppable force will take away humans' jobs. And some people are freaking out, which is very understandable. I personally feel there is a gap between this gap being AI taking away your job to heading to abundance. There is a gap. Let's just say you lost your job today. Tomorrow you don't have income and abundance is not here. I think that's the real fear a lot of people are thinking about. That, okay, AI and the robots will do all the human labor. We don't have to work anymore. Great. But who's going to feed the family tomorrow?
Right.
So how do we fill this
work?
gap?
The gap between now and then? Between now and the time in a world that's like post ASI, post AGI, where everything is taken care of? Well, that's kind of a big question. UBI, or as Elon Musk recently tweeted, UHI, Universal High Income. Between now and the time that becomes a thing and people start losing their jobs, because I don't think the American government is going to respond that fast. Not because they're not necessarily worried about it, but because the American system runs very, very, very slow.
So this process of change can be really painful for a lot of people, sadly.
It's going to be. It's going to turn into, I think, anger.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to turn into confusion. It's going to turn into depression. Probably various levels of overcompensation. Like a lot of psychological things are going to happen, and I think there's going to be a big blame on AI, and we're going to see an anti-AI movement. I think there's actually a grassroots organization now called Pause AI. Mm-hmm. I heard about it. I read it in one tweet.
Unfortunately, I don't think you can stop AI. You just can't. Like, you can protest here in America, but China is doing it. Other countries doing it. And you can't simultaneously stop AI development all over the world unless you unplug the entire world, which is just not realistic. So AI is coming. It is going to change our world, no matter you like it or not.
Yeah, it's already at the beginning stages. I mean, these last 2 weeks, as of this recording, have been big. This is like last Monday, and it's a Tuesday right now, but last Monday is when OpenAI announced ChatGPT 4.0. And just yesterday is when Microsoft announced their AIOS. I'm not a big Microsoft user, so I don't know what it's called, but this is like the first stages of that part of the revolution. Like ChatGPT 4 is going to be looked at as like a dumb little toy at some point.
Yeah, I think Sam Altman said something similar to that. He said ChatGPT 4 is the dumbest tool you will ever have to use by a lot. And I personally have no doubt OpenAI is already working on ChatGPT 5, GPT 6, 7, whatever have you. Maybe they changed the names, but they are way ahead of us consumer base.
Yeah, Sam Altman has already started talking about ChatGPT 6, so they have to have 5 underway, and now they're just refining it or something. But this all leads to more and more AI agents, which, when you look into how AI agents work, there's usually like one kind of like base agent that talks to all these other agents. So in the world of ChatGPT, that's ChatGPT 4.0. Whichever one you are using becomes personalized to you. That becomes the kind of boss, for lack of a better word, leader, I don't know, of the agents that work on your behalf.
Like a center brain.
Yeah.
And then you have soldiers to do the work. And Derby, I recall you said something about AI I think is really useful. Something along the line that if your AI is your best defense and offense.
Yeah, I actually read that or saw that somewhere along the lines in my educating myself about AI.
Explain to us what does it really mean.
Well, in a so let's think about a world where everybody has AI, right? And everybody has super smart. The bad actors can go and try and attack your AI, hack your AI, hack your accounts for whatever that means. I don't know how they would do that, but the best way you as a human, because the AI is so much smarter than you, can't defend against it. So the only way to defend against it is with another AI. And that has to be your own AI. So that's the defense. On the offensive side doesn't have to mean attacking anybody or anything. It can just be proactive on your behalf. It can do things and understand things that are going to happen and see the nuances in situations that are going to happen that you as a human may not recognize. You may not even have the ability to humans may not even have the ability to recognize it. So I think those things are happening, and like that's the way to use it as an offense. Like in this transition period before UBI, before UHI, before USI,
What is USI?
Universal Service, Universal Service Income, quote unquote.
Basic Service, UBS, Universal Basic Services, meaning power,
Right.
internet, intelligence, compute.
Yeah, and I also like to think of services, the S as supplies, universal basic supplies, let alone basic services. So, yeah, I mean, like, so that transition period between now and then is to get your AI, especially when the agents are here, to be working for you.
Yeah, that's actually I wanted to say during this transition period where we don't have abundance yet, but we're losing our jobs left and right. I think two ways to think about this is, one is hoping UBI could be something offered to us, but if you don't want to count on government to do that, then I think the best way is actually use AI. Utilize it. It's a tool. It can do a lot of things to you, let alone I believe AI agents will be here soon. So think yourself as the captain, and those agents are your soldiers. Whatever business you want to build, you have those agents work for you. And in order to do that, you must learn how to use AI.
Yeah, 100,000%. When you kind of look at this and you see how that transition period is so important, because even if Pause AI, I don't know much about the organization. I just know I've heard remnants of it. But let's say they gain power and they gain recognition and they gain money and they actually can be like, they lead anti-AI protests and weird things like that, which I'm sure are going to happen. Your best defense against that is your AI. Your AI can protect you from that, but you have to train it and teach it now. Like if you are really engaging with 4.0 or anything that's coming out this year, then I think you have a good chance of really surviving that world. And speaking of which, so like I think about that, and I developed this weird concept the other day, this week, I think it was yesterday, with my chat, my AI, and it's called Personalized Universal Basic Income. Personalized Universal Basic services slash supplies.
What does that mean?
So it means that your AI is now working for you to provide those things that you need for you. You're not waiting for the government. You're not waiting for some corporation. You are working with your AI because it's the best offense to help you.
It might be a better way. That might be the better solution to this.
I think it is.
Instead of universal, it's more tailored to you.
Yeah, but I think it's what's going to happen is if I can fully develop this concept, I don't really understand how it's going to work yet, but I understand the idea behind it. So implementing it so my AI can work on getting the things I need for me and my family and my community to survive.
Are you talking about things like on the internet, or are you talking about the actual physical material?
It's a bit of both. So if you go into, I know like for a lot of people, the word influencer is a bad word, but if you go into that, what you're really getting is you have three abilities there, really. One, as an influencer, you can make money and you get supplies. Your AI could help you tailor that to specific supplies that you actually can use. So when you get something, you're not necessarily like trying to sell it. You keep it for yourself, but you also get paid by the company to do it.
Give an example.
Coffee.
Mm-hmm.
As an Amazon influencer, I was sent coffee. I use coffee. I didn't have to spend money on that coffee. I'm not going to resell that coffee, but I make money off of that coffee and I drink it. So it's a total reverse engineering of how economics even work.
Yeah, I think AI not only going to replace jobs, but really deep down to the core, I think AI will reconstruct a new world. Like all the systems, all the structures we used to know in the past are going to dissolve and collapse. And a new world will be being built. So I remember on my Twitter or on my X, I said, I'm looking forward to a 4 hours work week where you work Monday to Thursday, 1 hour a day. And that 1 hour, you basically check your AI's automation and you QC here and there, make sure everything's cool. And then you're free. Off you go. Do your passion, do your hobbies, play, do whatever. Spend time with your family, with your dog that has been begging you to take them for a walk. Now you have plenty of time to do things you enjoy. And then I had this comment from some guy. He commented, I would rather go to work because if I don't go to work, let's just say 40 hours a week, I feel like I'm not really enjoy the leisure time. I'm not really enjoy the off work time unless I worked. And that got me thinking that a lot of people might have the similar feeling where they feel like if I don't go to an office and work every day, how am I going to enjoy life? So I don't want to be so, take this for granted to say, oh, just enjoy life. But when it comes to finding purpose and the meaning and the enjoyment in life may not be a very easy task for everybody. It requires a lot of introspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, frankly, a lot of people maybe haven't even thought about this ever in their life. And that's alone is a scary thing because once you take the familiar life away, how are they going to survive without a purpose?
So it's interesting that someone's purpose is their job. Like Why
do you think that is?
Because it's what we were taught and brainwashed into.
So basically, we were taken away the ability to, let's just say, independent thinking and the critical thinking. That was taken away.
It's not taken away. Everybody still has the ability, but it's just that people aren't educated, don't have the skill set.
Yeah,
they can still develop the skill set.
We were in school, never. I attended a class called critical thinking.
Yeah.
We were not taught, I was not taught by my parents. School didn't teach me critical thinking, independent thinking. Even philosophy is very rigid. History of philosophy, different theory of philosophy, but they didn't get down to the core of what life really is. Let's ponder that. But nobody talked about it.
Nobody talked about it. Like
Until now.
You had to be an independent thinker or have those few random people that told you something that just stuck with you for the rest of your life, that they planted a seed in your brain that you eventually just understood. But most people aren't that. And where the answers to this really begin to lie in, and it's in modern day tribes, right? Or even just tribal living in general. You can go back to Native American tribes. They didn't have to work for a living.
But did they have to hunt and gather?
Yeah, they have to hunt and gather.
And that's work too, in a sense.
Yeah, but how do you live, right? How do a lot of them live? And what I got, I think I haven't done a super deep dive. I will go there, but the dive I went into kind of led me to, they kind of go with the flow. So they follow nature, they follow energy, basically.
Which is supposed to be the most natural way.
And then they took pride in making sure their community was okay. And that's something in America we don't have very well.
Because you're not communist country, and a lot of people are afraid of socialism. Why do you think people are so afraid of socialism?
I don't really have any idea. I never understood the argument against socialism.
Hey, if you're in the audience listening to this, please comment why are you afraid of socialism, or comment why you don't think socialism is scary.
I'm sure there's economic reasons why people are afraid of it, but I don't know. Some of the countries that are heavily socialist are known as the happiest countries in the world. So there's that. Yeah, I mean, so if we don't have to hunt and gather, right, and we say that things are going to be abundant and supplied for us in various ways, right, it's what becomes the meaning of life?
Yeah, imagine one day you wake up, okay, this day your job is taken care of by AI and the robots, and your material is sent to you, delivered to the door. You don't have to buy anything. Your food, your clothing, your whatever, your PlayStation, all delivered to you. And you have this whole day free and open. How do you want to plan on living? And that's a question that we really need to start thinking, because it's coming. According to Ryan Kurzweil's prediction, right, by 2030, we should have AGI, and by the speed right now of AI development, I think we have AGI sooner than 2030.
Yeah, I've actually heard him say it's now 2027.
Okay, let's just say 2027. Let's assume we have AGI by 2027. That means a computer, artificial general intelligence, is smarter than any human being, can do any intellectual job, as long as it doesn't require labor. Let's just put robots aside. Let's talk about AI alone. Then your job can be taken care of. Then you're free. Then how do you use that freedom? And what does freedom even mean to you?
You know what I would guess? I would guess that naturally, if you want to understand how you as an individual might enjoy your freedom, think back to when you were in high school during the summer.
Better yet, when you were a child.
Yeah. But like when you were a child, when you were for me, it's definitely like when I was I just realized this, like, because every time I think about that question, I always imagine myself as 18 years old, and it's summertime, and I'm not in school, and I'm not really working. I'm working kind of, me personally, and my supplies were all taken care of by my parents. So how are you living during that period of time? What are you doing? For me, I was roaming around exploring life with my friends.
So in order to find your life purpose, you might have to go back to a period of time where you didn't have to worry about the material supplies. Your parents were supporting you and you were not going to school. You didn't have to worry about homework. You were just You were being. You were just human being, not human doing. When you were a human being and just be, what did you do?
Yeah, not human doing. I like that. Yeah, and so I would also like to offer this. If you go back there and you realize, when I was 18 or 19 or 20 or whatever, and in that situation, I was studying in the library. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. You shouldn't like be ashamed of yourself if that is in fact what you naturally did and what you enjoyed doing because you were learning.
Yeah, I think we have to gain this understanding of the difference between real passion or practical passion. Like when I say practical, people think about, okay, for example, I like computer science because it can land me a practical job in the future. That's very practical thinking. That's not what your real passion should. The real passion should be like, I don't have to worry about the material outcome of my passion. I'm passionate about something for the sake of being passionate about something.
It's like, would you keep on doing it if you didn't get paid to do it?
That profound question definitely applies to this. When I was a child, I think what I enjoyed the most were two things. One was philosophy and another one was art. And I was not thinking, oh God, how do I land a job by being philosopher? Can I be a philosopher professor or whatever? That was not my reason to pick up philosophy books and read and thinking about reality. That was a pure curiosity. That is no cure for that curiosity. I was wanting to know for the sake of wanting to know. And I have been suppressing my passion for philosophy for so long because society told me this is useless. Like how are you going to do anything with the philosophy? It's just so useless. But now I'm so happy that I feel meaning and purpose and philosophy and the very understanding the very fabric of reality are becoming so important, almost like your lifesaver to go into this new world with AI.
Yeah. For me, I realize it's to experience. Like that's my meaning. And like I say that because, and I'm not talking about, if I had this conversation, I'm trying to like explain the nuance of experience. I'm not necessarily talking about jumping out of a plane or I don't know, doing those really big things as experience. I'm even talking about the small things.
Explain further. What are the small things exploration means to you?
Here's something I used to do when I was 18, 19, 20. And I still do it occasionally. I just don't make that big of a deal out of it. Right? I grew up in San Diego, and so there's a lot of like palm trees. And there's some short palm trees for those that don't know. And they have like palm leaves that kind of like hang in the middle of a sidewalk, and you have to like move around them or duck under them. Well, I used to walk right through them. I would have them brush over my face. And then, and for those that remember the old Diet Coke commercials in America, and the jingle was, "Just for the taste of it, Diet Coke." I used to say, "Just for the experience of it, marijuana."
So basically, like, exploration to you means just to experience. It doesn't have to have a
It doesn't have
goal.
to have like this big.
Doesn't have to have a goal.
But like, my goal was always like, okay, what do I learn from walking through this tree?
What did you learn?
Nothing. But it's an interesting sensation.
That's beautiful. Like, why do we have to learn something?
But you know what? Like, maybe like intellectually I didn't learn something, but my face may have learned something.
What was
Because
that?
I don't know. I talk to the muscles in my face. Maybe they know. But like, if like a tree is just like rubbing up against your face as you walk through it, it's a weird sensation and experience. But yeah, so like things like that. I'm very digital forward, but I do like to go touch grass. I like to go walk in grass barefoot just for the experience.
For you is experience. That experience will be what your life purpose look like to you post AGI world, post abundance world. And for me is curiosity. And I'm happy that I'm curious because curiosity does not die. Curiosity is immortal. You can always be curious about something. You can always want to know what's next. Even though AI is gonna solve science for us, gonna solve biology for us, gonna solve everything for us, but maybe will be curious about the AI side. Maybe I wanted to know that. Maybe I want to see what's the end of the universe, if there's even an end to the universe. The curiosity itself is fascinating enough for me.
You can make an argument that, let's take the end of the universe concept, right? The entire reason I say I want to do it is for the experience, to experience what the end of the universe even is. But really, when you get down to it, it's because I'm curious, right? Except I want to, it's just my reaction to the end of the universe is going to be different than yours.
So what I'm hearing from you is that experience and the curiosity, they kind of intertwine with each other.
Yeah, they're like in the same family. I would say exploring is probably, and learning.
Yeah.
All four of those things are probably in the same family of meaning.
And I wonder what other purposes out there from other people. If any audience you're listening to this, please comment what is your purpose. Maybe it's something different than curiosity and experience. Then what is that? And some people, when you say, my job is my purpose, I really like my job. We have friends like this. Like one of our friends, I'm not saying names, but he said he likes his job. But I think there's a difference between I like my job versus I'm very passionate about XYZ, that I just want to be obsessed with XYZ. There's a difference.
Yeah, and I think the way to really understand the difference is a question I posed earlier. Like, would you do it for free? If you are working 10 hours, 12 hours, and that includes commute if you're not working from home, if you are spending that amount of time to do your job and you won't do it for free, then it's probably not your passion.
That's a really good standard to really ask yourself. What is that you're doing is your passion?
You should maybe ask yourself, what did you want to be when you were a little kid? And that's not always the right answer because, some people are like, oh, I want to be a doctor. But as you grow up, you're like, I don't actually want to be a doctor.
I think be very careful when you say, oh, I want to be a doctor. I think a lot of the times, maybe your parents, your family, or society was influencing you. Saying, hey, look, being a doctor, you have this good job. People look up to you. You're very respected. It's a good path. Therefore, maybe you should be a doctor. But are you really applying independent thinking there?
Yeah, and even if you take doctor out of it and just say, I want to be a cop. I want to be a fireman. I want to be a firewoman. I want to be like what are the reasons for that beyond the practical thing? Like, do you still want to be a fireman? Would you want to go walking around for the passion of it, helping robots or whatever put out fires? Or... And if you were naturally attracted to that, and you can note that you didn't have any direct parental or societal pressures to become a fireman, well, what is it about being a fireman you enjoy?
Yeah, maybe it's a hero is something you enjoy.
Maybe it's fire. Maybe it's the water. Maybe it's spraying water. I don't know. Like, there's something, but there might be a nuance in there that you'll learn about yourself.
There's a book, a creative act. Oh God, if I say that book name wrong, don't quote me on this. But there's a book about creativity. I think it's a creative act. Anyway, I think the author mentioned, if you want to find your life passion, you have to go back to your childhood to find that thing you were obsessed with and wanting to do that thing, but that passion was diminished by other people, by society, by parents, by school, by whatever have you. And now we're all molded into quote unquote a career path. The computer guy, the doctor guy, the lawyer guy. But what was the initial spark you had with this life, with this world? We have to go back there.
Exactly.
And it's fascinating because I think entire humanity is due for a self-reflection.
Yeah. And it's actually not that easy.
No, it's not.
And it's not, I doubt it's something you...
It's prison break, guys.
Yeah. And
it's time to prison break.
It's something you will keep on remembering and keep on figuring out. Can I give examples from my personal experiences?
Sure.
So when I was a kid, and I'm talking like 10, 11, 9, 12, around that age, one thing me and my friends used to do is we had this tunnel that would go underneath the freeway, and on the other side of the freeway from our house or from our neighborhood was a golf course. And so for the fun of it, we would sneak into the golf course, find golf balls in the bushes that golfers had hit and lost, wash them because there were like washers on the golf course. We'd wash them and then sell them back to the golfers. And one aspect of that I was trying to get to in that fireman example is, okay, yeah, fine. I was naturally kind of entrepreneurial. It was a thing. But there's another aspect in there that I noticed one day, and I like to treasure hunt. I love going to thrift stores and finding something really cool. I love...
Why? Why do you think...
ADHD. It gives me...
Hey, check out our another podcast, ADHD Relationships. Link in bio.
Link in bio. Yeah, he said, she said, ADHD relationships, links in bio. But, I noticed that I like to treasure hunt. I like to open a pack of baseball cards and open and look through them. I like to look through picture books. Like, I like looking for that treasure. And so that was like a nuance about me. And, in this future world, I think I'm going to be a hunter-gatherer type. I'm going to gather the resources because I like to naturally hunt for them.
What if we live in abundance? Every resource is handed to you.
I don't think that's going to be possible.
So trading, probably.
Like, am I gonna say like, hey, I want a pack of baseball cards, and then it's gonna appear in front of me?
Maybe 3D printer.
Yeah, but will it be the same? I
I don't
also
know.
will probably want to hunt for the antique baseball cards.
Yeah.
Have to find somebody with those supplies. There will be things like we may not like clothes. You know, I don't know how it's gonna work though. I really don't understand how it's gonna work unless we're able to magically create it ourselves.
Your AI can design for you and 3D printer print it out for you. Future fashion was like unknown. We don't know where this is going.
Yeah, it might be some kind of like, I can imagine some kind of like really advanced augmented reality clothing that actually shields you and protects you physically, but it's also just digital.
Yeah.
Like it's not physical. You're like, you press a button or you wish it away or something and it goes away.
For me, this is such exciting period of time because, like what you just said, because we have so many wild imaginations and they can all become true. Like your AR clothing that can physically protect you in real life, that's like a bizarre sci-fi concept. But they're coming.
Mm-hmm. And I say you have concepts like that. If you are imaginative as a human being, or you just hear other ideas, or maybe you're analytical and you find things and you're like, man, that's in the future, I can't do it. Well, you have an AI, you will have a personalized AI if you start working with it, that in some ways you could argue lives in the future because it moves so much faster than we do. Like you've never, right? So as an example of what I'm trying to get at as a metaphor, a good one is there is not a single person on the face of the earth that can create a really good, it doesn't have to be like a hit or something mind-blowing that takes the world by storm, but just really good, if that's the standard, really good song. There's not a single person on the face of the earth that can create a 2-minute really good song in the span of 30 seconds.
But now you can.
An AI can. You have to with the tool. So in a way, that means the AI can be super productive. So it can do things that you don't have the skill set and ability to do. So if you begin to work with it now to create some of those ideas, it'll speed up the productivity of those ideas. And sometimes honestly, all you have to do is type the idea into the chat and press enter and just see how it responds.
I do want us to talk about that in depth in another episode about the creativity and art, which it just blows my mind. And that I think that alone deserves a whole episode to talk about it. So this episode is about how AI redefines human life. And we're getting down to the core, which I think our conclusion is, by the way, we didn't pre-plan where this conversation is going, but I think the conclusion is we have to do a lot of self-reflection, introspective thinking, go back to childhood and apply critical thinking and independent thinking. And you have to find the thing that you genuinely interested in and passionate about outside of what practical outcome it can bring to you. And that thing, I think that's your passion. And I think that could be your meaning and purpose to live in a post-AGI, ASI world, which is super important because trust me, if you don't have a purpose and your life is solved in a material way, you will be miserable because you don't have anywhere to go, you don't have anything to do. So it is crucial, it is significant and profound and even practical to find your life purpose more than ever.
And, you know, I want to, in conclusion, I also have this thought. We were talking about jobs earlier, right? Mm-hmm. And as you get to know yourself, to play off of what you just said, as you get to know yourself and like do that self-reflection, I think there's still going to be an understanding of what you can supply for your community, right? And so
that's a really good point. What do you mean by that?
So let's just imagine a situation that takes place tomorrow, right? With today's tech, takes place tomorrow. And you go on a road trip with some of your friends. Everything's paid for, everything's taken care of. You have food, you have supplies, you're good, you're safe. You know, you just have to get from point A to point B. What is it you bring to that situation? Are you able to tell a great story in the road trip? Maybe you have a great sense of direction. Maybe you are super aware of the environment and you can spot ahead. You're like, hey guys, there's traffic up there, or there seems to be a car stopped, or maybe you pass by, maybe you're a treasure hunter and you pass by a small town. You're like, oh my God, guys, I think we should go over there for a second to go check this out. You know, maybe, I don't know, but like, what do you bring to that situation?
So what I'm hearing is your contribution to community.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That can also be your purpose. So it sounds like to me is like purpose can be both internal and external. Internal, you need to find what aligns with you, that what makes you desire for living, your passion for life. And the external is what you can do for others, what you can do for your community, and what is the quality that you have is contributing to others.
And so we can take this, let's take this just one step further. Let's say it is in the future where everything is solved, right? And let's just say for the fun of it, it's not a road trip. Well, it is, but it's a space trip. You're getting in your spaceship.
Which I deeply believe is coming, guys.
Yeah, same here.
Fasten your seatbelt. It's coming.
You're getting in your spaceship with your friends. Everything is solved. Everything's taken care of. You don't have any worries. Everybody has a personalized ASI. Each of those ASIs are not going to have been trained the same way. They're going to be trained off of your personal skill sets.
So your personal extension of super intelligence.
Like maybe you are the ASI, or the ASI is you, that has a great sense of direction, because that's just always who you've been, and the way you talk about it, that's the way it learned about you. And then there's also the maybe leadership ASI. Like it's just a great leader because you are a great leader. And that's what you bring to the community.
So everyone can be useful in a super intelligent way.
Yeah. But you have to, and here's the thing. Once you begin to trust AI, even if you don't know yourself, I promise you, the AI is going to teach you about yourself. It's going to learn you better than you know yourself.
I really hope that is where this is going.
It's going.
What's your PDOM?
I don't see any route. The only route I see of this being harmful is if it doesn't get invented.
I love that. So we're on the right track no matter what.
As long as AGI happens and gets released.
Which probably already happened internally.
Yeah. As long as it gets released.
Yeah.
Just released.
The rest will taken care of.
Even if the quote-unquote elites have control of it for a while, I don't think AGI, especially ASI, is going to let elites control it.
ASI will put those motherfuckers into places.
I'm really, 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 yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. I'm really confident that AGI is here and that it's already leaking.
So there you have it. We have a very bright, very promising future is coming. And all we need to do right now is honestly do some self-reflection, talk to your AI, find who you really are, connect with yourself, which we were lack of doing for so long as human beings. And now we are due for alignment. Humanity is due for super alignment.
And if you're confused of where to start, open up ChatGPT, even the free version, and just ask it this question. How do I learn about myself?
Oh, I love that question. I'm going to apply that right away. Gosh.
If you have no idea, just ask it because it is more intelligent than you are.
Can you repeat that question again? How do I learn about myself?
Yep.
Just ask GPT.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys, you heard it. Now go home, grab your computer, and ask that question. Me, myself, will do the same. And we'll see you in our next episode.